crumble opinion. Hello, my crumb dumpsters. Oh my God, where are we? You are tuning into In My Crumb Opinion. My name is Phoebe Cakes, and you are in for a very, very special episode. We have the entire cast of the High PrincX Pageant Cycle 3. I think they're called cycles, like America's Next Top Model, whatever you want to call it. The third cohort of this pageant. First, I want to acknowledge that we are in a brand new space. This isn't the permanent home of In My Crumble Opinion. Oh God, it's too expensive for us. But we are at Oasis Arts. They are committed to uplift the voices of the historically suppressed, disenfranchised, and forgotten LGBTQ and BIPOC community by providing a platform to present artistic expression. Thank you so much, Darcy, for your vision. I love the green screen. There's so much I could do here. Okay, before we get started, I really do want to say that this is one of the best PrincX pageants that I've seen. There's been 3, but one thing that really stuck out to me, and I think part of it is because of the format of the show, having the contestants have at least 5 years to kind of like germinate and become who they are as a drag performer, that all of you really brought yourselves to this pageant. And each and one of you kind of like shined in your own unique way, and it was really beautiful to watch. So in the spirit of like knowing yourselves, let's go around and introduce yourself and maybe a little bit of who you are.
I'm Sassi Fran, local to here in San Francisco, and I've been doing drag since late 2016, but I like to consider like May 2017 more so, because that's when I actually started using the name Sassi Fran. And yeah, been here ever since.
Hi, I'm God's Little Princess. Also San Francisco native and local, and I've been cross-dressing for 12 years. I've been doing drag as a performer for 8.
I'm Yayah. I'm from Sacramento. I've done drag now for like 8 years. Started sneaking into the bars when I was like 19. So here I am.
Hola a todos, my name is Fresas. I'm from Mexico, the official mamacita of the Castro. I've been doing drag for 7 years, and I started in San Jose, but now I reside here in San Francisco.
Hello, I'm Raya Light. I've only been doing drag for 20-something years, but it was a pageant that inspired me to do drag. So this is sort of a weird, surreal circle of life moment.
We are missing some of the contestants from this last cycle. I want to give a shout out to Beverly Chills, who has a chill, actually. I think she's sick. Cheetah Biscotti, who's currently doing tech for Scream. If we get a commercial, we're going to play that commercial for you. And then Acha, who also was feeling under the weather. We love them dearly. We wish they were all here. But we're gonna power through, and they might pop up somewhere in this video somehow. Before we get started, can someone help me out with what is the High PrincX Pageant, just for our new viewers?
What is the High PrincX Pageant? It's like a regular pageant, but like cuntier and kind of cooler. It's very San Francisco. And did you want like a real answer? I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. It's cunty, it's cool. It happens in San Francisco. That's exactly right. Things that we need to know about the pageant. What makes it different?
This isn't exclusive to PrincX, but one of the things that I think PrincX does really well, where I feel like a lot of pageants sometimes are in San Francisco are more catered to newcomers. This is a celebration of people who've been doing it for a while, or at least 5 years. And so even though it's a competition, there is sort of this energy of like sort of honoring and like celebrating everything that we've done, which is nice.
The format's cool because it's also split up between 2 weeks. So like many other pageants, there's legs in different categories, and this is split up into 2 weeks. So you all competed over the course of 2 weeks. So we'll get into that too.
I would also say that another thing about the PrincX pageant that makes it different from other pageants is that it really focuses on bringing attention to a more creative side of performers, which is very specific to San Francisco. So they're really looking for someone that brings a whole concept. They're looking for someone that brings something new and different to the scene, which I think that the Princess team focuses on every week. So if you ever go to a Prince's show, you'll always see that it's going to be a whole production, right? So there's like visuals that come along with it. There's lighting. There's all kinds of cues that you can utilize, which I think, not that I know exactly a lot about other pageants, but I don't think you have as much power to maybe create a new experience for the audience to be part of.
No, I would echo that. I think the Princess team does a really great job of making it a good fucking show, because that's what you all did and that's what they do best. But also, like you said, really kind of showcasing the uniqueness of every single performer. I haven't been to a whole lot of pageants, but from what I see is like some of it's a lot of the same thing over and over again, or there's a lot of similar aesthetics, but each of you are just so different. I mean, honestly, look at this panel. Each of you is so different, and you brought that to this pageant, and you all did really well in it as well. So I know some of you are pageant babies, have done pageants in the past. We have a 2007 T-Shack winner. You both competed at Star Search together. How many years ago was that? 2019. Yeah. Have y'all competed before? Yeah.
I did Trinity the Tux, Love for the Arts,
Ooh.
and won.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I also did Dirty Work with Delta Work in
Okay.
Sacramento. Yeah.
Wow.
I was the runner-up.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you only do Rue Girl pageants. What made you change your mind for this one?
Oh my gosh, what a pointed question. The money.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just kidding.
I've done a pageant back in San Jose, which was like one of their first pageants for Silicon Valley Pride, which was called Miss Mouth. But that was more like a lip sync showdown. So we all just lip synced against each other. I did win that one. So that's like the first time I performed. And then right before the stud closed, there used to be turbo pageants every 2 weeks, I think, right? So like right before, right before, maybe like 3 weeks before the whole shutdown happened, I ended up doing a turbo pageant. And then, yeah, basically that was the last time.
Raya, I want to hear about your experience doing a pageant in 2007. How many years ago is that? I'm not a math queen. I'm Filipino, but I'm not online kind. So
It's a long time ago. There was drag before Drag Race. I don't know if anybody knows that.
I heard of that.
Yes,
yeah,
it
like
was.
gay people doing drag. Yeah.
And it was weird. It was totally San Francisco. I mean, that's the whole reason I got into drag was I went to this pageant. It was at the Regency Ballroom with 1,500 people.
Wow.
There's someone comes out dressed as Billie Holiday doing a Billie Holiday cover, gets branded mid lip sync, does not flinch. Someone did a Roman orgy and a centaur came out and spewed ejaculate all over her. Someone came out and had fire dancers on stilts, and then they were raised by the skin of their back while they lip synced to Troy, no flinching. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And that just blew me away. And little did I know, the next year I was in this very same pageant.
Can you regale us with your number? What did you do?
Oh.
Did you spew cum on a centaur?
Yeah.
I was.
I'm very, one of the things I do is I tell stories. Yeah. So it was a whole story about Little Red Riding Hood, lost in the forest. She gets tempted by this wizard who her, sort of. And then she grows up. She's seduced by all these men in all these sheep in tuxedos. She dances with them. They turn into wolves. They rip her to shreds. She fights back and beats them all back.
Oh, gorgeous. I love the ending. Yeah, that's intense. Family story, yeah.
It was simple.
And do you two want to talk about your pageant history a little bit?
Yeah, I'll talk. Besides Star Search, I've done Little Mix Monster. I won Little Mix Monster 2021. And then I've also done GAPA Runway. I didn't place. It's fine. And
That's okay. Dodge the bullet. Okay.
And I also did. I also did Turbo Pageant as well. I think possibly it might have been the cycle or like month, whatever they call them, but the month I think before you competed. Yeah, but I made it past the first week. And then I don't want to talk about what happened after that. But I was really proud of my number on the first week. So, which was really funny that I didn't find this out until like a couple months ago that the Butch Queen around the same time, Evian, did the same exact song, and we did pretty similar concepts. What I did at Turbo Pageant, she did at Butch Queen. It was like slightly different. Mine was kind of about my namesake of why my name's Sassi Fran. It's from an app called Neko Atsume, but it's like a Sassi Fran is a maid, French maid cat. And like Evian kind of had like a similar-ish aesthetic going on with her number at Butch Queen. So it wasn't until
So she stole your idea.
No.
She stole your idea.
I checked
Yeah.
the dates. I checked
yeah.
the receipts. It was honestly
above board.
coincidence,
Yeah.
but maybe she stole it.
She wasn't a Toro and you weren't Clover. What were the Clovers? I don't know. Yeah. East Compton Clovers were the Clover. East Compton Clovers, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I have done a lot of pageants, and I've only done well on one, aside from this one. I've done Butch Queen twice. Not only did I lose, I think I placed last both times. Because
the placing.
the way they did it was they announced everyone who placed first, like everyone who placed second and third first, and then. And the one year I did it, like the whole cast, except for me and one other queen, tied for second. And then there was me, one other queen, and the person who got first place. So I was like, okay, well, that means I'm either first or last, or second to last. So I was like, whoa. So I was like, I'm going to do it again. And then I did it again and did stand up. And that was a choice. And I think I got last for that one as well. And then I did Vivi's pageant. I think it was called Pageant. And it happened once and never happened again. And I
did one of those.
Yeah, is it with the teams?
Yes.
And me and Hollow did it where we did the that installation where we built like a massive outhouse, and I like pissed on her and like cut her tits open. And then we and then we won that. And then Star Search. I don't know what I placed in that, but I famously slipped on Snack's like mess that she made on the stage, and then she won. So that was sabotage.
Was sabotage?
Yeah.
I remember you doing really well.
Yeah,
But
I was happy with it.
remember Going into the back room, I was like an extra in one of the numbers, and it was tense.
Yeah,
it was tense there.
I think I had one of my backup dancers go yell at Otter.
Oh yeah.
So that felt nice.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So obviously a wealth of experience competing, but also doing drag. What did you learn from your previous pageant experiences that you brought to this one?
Well, the first time that I competed, which was at the Miss Mouth pageant, I was actually eliminated on the first round. So it was like a lip sync off. So I got eliminated against this one queen. And then, they, in these kind of moments, they'll say like, oh, it's not the end, right? Like there's always a second opportunity. So then they had us do a lip sync off against 3 of us. So then like we all had to lip sync against each other. So I won that one. And then I had to go up against the same girl that eliminated me the first time to be able to get onto the finale. So it was kind of wild. But there's 2 things that I learned with that. The first one is to never give up. It's like, especially in a pageant like PrincX, where it's like maybe the first week you didn't do your best. It's like, don't give up, don't come in defeated. Like you can always work even harder to kind of show that you are worthy to get that crown on that second week. So that'd be the first thing. And then the second thing that I learned was that you can change the audience's perspective, because sometimes it feels like because it was all audience vote, it was like the audience voted me out. Right. But then I had to make sure that I changed the audience's perspective to be able to vote me back into the competition. And I think that's what people love to see. It's like a comeback story. They like to see someone that like didn't give up, that kept pushing. So that's kind of what I learned mostly. It's just like keep trying and to like really try to like always find somewhere to like reinvent yourself or to like push yourself a little bit harder. It's not really about how can I beat the other person, but it's about how can I, showcase a different part of me that maybe people haven't seen yet.
Wonderful.
I think a thing that I've learned was just to really stick to like being yourself. Do a concept that you love and try to elevate that, and don't try to give them something that you think that they want. And so that took me a few years to realize of like, the first competition that I did, I think I did do something that I wanted to do, but I definitely was like trying to cater to what do I think the judges will like, what do I think the audience will like. And the difference between that and when I won my first pageant, which was Little Mix Monster, the difference was I stopped caring about what everyone else thought, and I just wanted to make myself happy and make like the sickest thing that I thought I could make. So be yourself.
Prepare and rehearse. Every pageant that I've done that I didn't like the result or wasn't happy was because I kind of just like rested on my laurels and was just like, oh yeah, I'm funny, or like, oh, I'm sickening, like whatever. And then like didn't have anything really prepared, or like had the concept but kind of like half-assed it. And this pageant was sort of the first one that I was like, I'm gonna like go all in and like really try. And actually like showing passion in your work is like not a thing to like look down on. So yeah.
For me, I would say just trust that first thing that pops into your head when you're given like a category or, you know, whatever it is. Because I've definitely had moments in my career. Oh my God, Cochina's staring at me. Oh my God, she has a gun. Oh my God. Okay. I think in my career, there's been moments where I'm like, I really want to do this, but I'm not going to do that because I feel like it's not palatable. The GP is not going to understand it. And I think with this pageant and like in other competitions, for me, it's just like trust the first thing that pops in your head, because you're going to waste time if you keep coming up with like secondary ideas. And then, you know, just devote to that, really craft it, make it perfect. And especially in this pageant too, because I feel like this cast all brings so much different stuff to the table that I was like, I can't compare myself to any of these performers, and I can't really worry about like concepts and ideas and execution. I really just have to stick to what I'm coming up with and deliver it to its like full capacity. So just trust the first thing that pops in your head and own it.
I hope y'all are watching at home are taking down notes, because this is really good advice that we're getting from the whole panel. Raya?
Well, let's be frank. My goals were simple. I wanted to stay awake, not fall, don't embarrass myself. I accomplished one of those, so I feel pretty happy about that. Which one? Stayed awake.
We do have Kachina Rude kind of looming around menacingly. She can take the seat at the end. Do you want to join us, Kachina? Oh. We're gonna do that later. Just sit down.
What were you guys talking about?
Talking about you.
What are you guys talking about?
We're just talking about their histories relating to pageants and how it related to High PrincX one. Do you have a history with pageants, Kachina?
No.
Well, there you go.
Listen, I've said it many times. I don't care who wins. I'm paid the same.
So you didn't bet on anybody this year?
No, but that's a good idea.
It is a good idea. We need to do that next year. Betting pool. Okay, so we do have something akin to the RuPaul's Drag Race kind of walk in the workroom moment. The first time you all got together was the photo shoot. You were all present for that? Even Kachina? Yes.
Yeah, I'm obligated.
You're she gets paid the same. But what was that feeling like walking in and then seeing each other? Was it a moment of sizing each other up? What were your first impressions of each other?
I was the first one in.
Stuck in order of how we showed up.
Yeah, so I was the first one, which is fitting because I'm always the first one. I'm chronically early, always over-prepared. And I don't know much, or at the time I did not know much about the San Francisco drag scene from Sacramento. And the first person that walked in after me was Raya. And I was like, okay, cunt, who the fuck is that? And then who walked in after Raya? I think it was Sriracha. Sriracha, and I was like, I don't know who that is either. And I had this like idea in my head of who the cast was gonna be, just because I, at the time, knew like 10 people in San Francisco. Cheetah Biscotti was one that I definitely was like, I think Cheetah's gonna be on. I thought maybe like Cherry Cola, Bonita. But I was gagged. And then Cheetah walked in, and then this one walked in. Or I think you walked in third. And I was like, oh, that was a gag. I was gagged. And then she was like, yeah, I think Beverly's showing up too. And I was like, whoa. So it was definitely not the cast I expected. I was gagged with every single person. And I was very excited to learn who like all these people are, because it was all very new to me. So it was fun getting to meet all these amazing artists.
Yeah, I honestly didn't really know anyone. But I immediately went on their social media and noticed they all had more followers than I did. And I thought, fuck, I'm in trouble.
Do you feel like that was something that mattered though?
I don't think it mattered, but it just, I have to work on my social media. I don't know how to do that.
Got it.
Raya predates social media.
Yeah, I was gagged by Raya. I was gagged by Raya Light. I was like, cause like I moved to San Francisco like a decade ago, and so I remember seeing Raya Light in sort of like the end of like T-Shack era, and I was like, whoa, this bitch is here. And then I knew of Yayah. I knew Betty. I mean, I knew everyone there. Okay, this isn't shade, but I like forgot Sacramento gets included in this. So I like, so I was like, oh yeah, Yayah would be here because she's a Sacramento girl. But yeah, it was actually kind of funny seeing your reactions because you were like, I am so gagged right now. But I knew Bev was gonna be in it, even though we weren't supposed to talk to each other, but whatever. But anyway, I knew Bev was gonna be because we were turned at an after hours, and I was like, girl, do the fucking let's do this pageant. And she goes, you think so? And I was like, girl, just do it. And I think she might have texted Tito at like maybe the next day or that night. I remember, but I was like, yeah, girl, just do it. It'll be so sickening. And like that'll be the stunt. Like no one's expecting Beverly Chills to do this pageant, so that was kind of sickening. So you're welcome. I don't know.
It was your fault.
It was my fault.
Yeah, I was also pretty gagged to see Beverly and really like pleased too because like I used to hang out with Beverly, not a ton, but like in the very beginning before she started doing drag, me, Cash and her would just like hang out in me and Cash's room talking about concepts. So it's like really cool to see how much she's grown and like how much she's really gotten to do all of those ideas that she used to talk about. So yeah, that made me really happy to see her. I saw you and you were like, oh my God, we're like competing again. I was like, oh my God, are you stalking me? And I was like super gagged to see Yayah too, because I had seen you before at, I think Oaklash was maybe the first time I saw you. So I love art. And so I was like very excited to see you. And I think Cheetah was walking in like directly behind me. And I'm like in love with Cheetah Biscotti. So
Yes, we all are.
yes, I have a huge crush on Cheetah Biscotti. So
Well, I was last because I'm always the last one to show up. I was shaving my legs. It was taking a minute. But no, I was last and I walked in and basically like everybody was all dressed. Like everybody was ready to go. And I was like, okay, well, should I get naked now? Like, it's just like, do I change now? And they're like, yeah, just do it. So then I just like started changing. And honestly, like I was exhausted because I stayed up till like 5 a.m, like stoning and the outfit that I was wearing, and then like woke up at 7 and then kept stoning. So I worked to the last minute. So when I showed up, I was like, I am so ready for this to be over. But when I walked in, to be honest with you, I didn't really know. I mean, I knew Lil Princess and Beverly Chills, and I had heard that Beverly was gonna be in it, down the pipeline. But I didn't know for a fact. But everyone else, like, I don't think we've ever met. So I was just like, really like, who are all these people? Like, I have no idea who these people are. What?
I have a funny story for you.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, I was like, who? Like, I have no idea who any of these people are. So I was just kind of standing there, like changing and just being like, okay, well, like just do you, just kind of like come to do what you came here to do. And then we're taking our pictures and stuff. So Lil Princess and I were just like talking and chilling and kikiing. So it was like a really fun experience to be there. But yeah, definitely, I was just like, because I had been talking with my friends about like, who do you think is going to be there? And like none of the people that we thought was going to be were there. So I was like, okay, well, I guess like everything that we know has gone out the window now. But yeah, it was pretty fun.
I think you knew me because it's just funny. I never checked my Facebook, and I finally looked at all my friend requests on Facebook like 2 days ago. I had a friend request from you from 2 years ago.
Really?
I did, so that's why I don't believe you. But it's fine. I know I'm like easily forgettable. I get it. So
Sassi says she has receipts.
I do.
Send
I
it.
love-
Send it. We'll put it in.
I love
we'll
pulling out
project it in the green
receipts.
screen.
I'm gonna have to look it
Friend
up.
request. Did you accept it? No, rejected. No, it's still.
No, I
still-
accepted
still-
it. I
yeah.
promise.
Okay, I don't check Facebook anymore. It's fine.
To be fair, I mean, you gotta be easy on her. You got to be easy on the girl. She was clearly in her blind Facebook networking era. It's a moment of weakness for her, so please give her some respect. Yes, you. It's giving new girl in town trying to get the gig, you know. But respect, you know, Facebook.
Well,
Facts.
as like a drag fan, a Bay Area drag fan, watching the announcements of like the cast is kind of like the Avengers for me. It's just like, oh my god, this is a super group. I actually knew all of you, so I wasn't gagged by anyone, but I was just like, well, I was gagged by just like the assemblage of all of you in one room and getting to see who was going to compete. Because really, it's one of those things where it's just like, well, there's no clear front runner here. Everyone's sickening in their own way, so that was really fun to see. And it's also fun to like see that there are these blind spots where you didn't know each other or you didn't know each other. But I feel like I was like, oh, it's fun for the viewer to like know everybody and them not to know each other. It gives drama. I mean, that's my own personal enjoyment. Okay, so let's talk about night one. Night one was runway, Q&A, and lip sync battles. We're going to start with runway. Runway was elemental. I want to hear how you chose your element and kind of your process in preparing your look for that.
Well, I was first, so I'll go first. I guess I will start it off with me knowing, like what I said earlier, that Princess is like very much is like a concept-based performance space. I was like, okay, I like to be pretty and I like to look pretty, and I don't always necessarily have a concept behind that, right? So I was like, how can I kind of like make myself a little bit more campy? How can I make myself have that little extra little bit of like funny or just like referential that maybe someone might understand and be like, oh, I get that. So my first original idea was like, I want to have wings. So I want to have wings because I felt like wings would be something that would kind of be like a showstopper. Like they would have this kind of moment on stage, and my friend makes wings. So I was like, okay, maybe we can make this happen together. So I wanted to be an eagle. So I was going to do air. So I wanted to do like the Mexican eagle from the Mexican flag. But then we thought about like the colors and how maybe like browns and nudes would not show up as well on stage. So then my friend Crystal Candelier was like, well, why don't you just do like a phoenix? So then we kind of developed it from there. So we were like, okay, let's do reds, oranges. Those are super bright. Let's do a phoenix. And then from there, I was like, ooh, I would love to have like the Bob Mackie reference, you know? So I ended up making the outfit. And then I had like literally like 20 people stone it over the course of like 2 weeks. So we had that. And then I was like, where's the concept? Like, why is this a phoenix? So then I was like, I love the American Horror Story Coven, where Myrtle Snow gets burnt on the stake for betraying the witches. So I was like, ooh, that would be a cute moment where it's just like, okay, that's the reference. That's the concept. That's the little bit of like campy, funny aspect to it that I can add to it without it just being like pretty cute, cunty. So yeah, that's kind of how I came up with my concept.
So as I said before, I was motivated to do drag by a pageant, so I was very much in my head thinking about that experience. And I know everyone here, you know, came to drag after Drag Race, but before Drag Race, you know, it was just not necessarily better, but it was just a different experience. And I was just thinking about that and thinking about all the people that inspired me during that time. It was really a community, and it was just an insane time. And so my concept was me evolving from this lost person that gets inspired by all these drag people. They watered me and turned me into this crazy drag monster flower. I don't think anyone ever understood it, but as long as it meant something to me, that's all I cared about. And I got amazing photos.
I think for me, the first thing that popped into my head when I heard elemental was astrology. And I'm an Aquarius, and the thing about Aquarius is it's an air sign, but a lot of people think it's a water sign. So my first idea was like, okay, how do I combine air and water? And I was like, well, a cloud. So I wanted to do like a cloud look, and I love big, like fluffy, very Lolita silhouettes. So it just kind of all like popped into my head as like the right thing to do. So that was how I came up with my concept. I definitely had like 10 other ideas that I like played with. I wanted to do like a King Trident kind of vibe. I was like, I don't know how I'd come down the runway in like a a mermaid tail. So this was like the most functional, easy to execute. It was like my first idea, and yeah, I did. I made everything in the pageant myself, aside from the headpiece that I wore in the lip sync with Raya. But yeah, all my creative presentation, my finale, my promo, all of that I made from scratch
A
myself.
lot of you
yeah.
made your own looks. So are you taking commissions right now? Let's talk after this.
No.
Okay, no.
Absolutely not. I'm actually quitting drag
Oh,
after this.
good,
Yeah.
thank God.
So
I did not make my own look. I already had the concept in my head, and so I was just gonna shape it around whatever they were going to announce what the theme was. And when they announced Elemental, I was like, "Oh, bitch, work!" Because like I wanted my whole package to tell like one story, and so with my performance, which we'll get to, I wanted to stick to that as my creative presentation. So I wanted to be very like whimsical, little like wood nymph cartoon character, a little bit of like a Pikmin. And so it was just easy. I was like, oh, Earth, great. And then I just was like, okay, well, how do I make it creative? And then I was like, I'll just be a bush, and then I'll be trimmed into like a hedge, like statue or whatever. And that was really it. Yeah.
I had also had my idea for a little bit. I was like inspired by, actually, you posted these on your story, these AI generated photos of these like floral, just like these really beautiful floral gowns and robes. And then you also shared one of like mushrooms too. Like you could tell it was AI generated. Like there was no way that anybody could make those.
Yeah,
but I was
look at the
just
fingers.
so
They're always
inspired.
wrong.
Yeah, the fingers. It was so inspired by those. And so when I heard it was Elemental, I was like, perfect. I'm going to do Earth because I really want to do this. Like, maybe I'll just do the floral thing. And so when I started sketching it out and was like, okay, I have a robe, an existing simple tulle robe that I can kind of deconstruct and add these flowers to it. But then as I kept going, I was like, it seems like this is just like a reveal piece. Like, I think there needs to be something more. I should also do the mushrooms. So I was like, I'm going to do it all. And then, so I had my friends help me out because I wasn't able to actually get started until like 2 weeks before the pageant. And so they helped me make, we made about 300 or so tulle flowers. I think I made half of them because I didn't realize how much I needed until I started gluing them onto the robe and was like, fuck you guys. We didn't make enough and I'm gonna have to just like keep going and keep making more. And then we made about 90 of the mushrooms, like neoprene vinyl mushrooms. I had one of my friends help me with that because I don't have a walking foot on my sewing machine. I should probably get one. If you're thinking of sewing vinyl or neoprene, get a walking foot. Yayah would know. So my friend helped me with that. And, I had another friend who kind of helped be sort of my materials consultant. She went to school for fashion. She went to Parsons. So she had a lot of wisdom to share with me on the way materials work and just like my silly idea of like, oh, I'd love the skirt to be made of like this chiffon and then I'll have the mushrooms on top. And she was like, are you crazy? That's not going to I was like, yeah, you're right. It's not going to happen. If only I used my sculpture degree brain. I didn't, but I did, halfway through listening to her and like talking about materials, I'm like, I can be smart about this. But yeah, so that's kind of how it like all came about. And then the UV touch to it and the lights, that was like a nice to have the whole time, but it was definitely one of those things that I was like, I think if I want to win, I think I need like one last like moment, like gasp moment. So I'm really happy that I had the time to do that. And the fiber optic, I like added these fiber optic light fabric that was almost a last minute decision. Cause I was like, I don't know if the UV paint is like gonna be enough and like the mushrooms are gonna naturally glow by themselves cause they're already white, but I need to do something extra that feels more intentional. And so my partner was like, oh, have you seen this? And like showed me all this like fiber optic fabric. And I was like, that's what I need. And I'm so happy with like how it turned out. And yeah.
Something that was very clear to all of us is that each of you really told a story with your runway and really took the opportunity to perform kind of that story out for us. But it's also really lovely to hear how your initial concepts were like really rooted in who you were as a drag artist, but also evolved as you kind of collaborated with other people and learned from them as well. So this year's Q&A GLP, God's Lil Princess, you won that one. Yep. Did you know you had it in the bag when you were asked the question? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, I knew I was gonna win Q&A. I don't know. Sorry, like I don't know, like.
Did it matter what question you got? Or
no. I knew I was gonna win it. I was like, I mean, I think all these performers are funny, but I was like, I don't know. No one can gab on a mic like me, honey. So, yeah. I knew that I had that in the bag. I also knew I was gonna win creative presentation. So, tie. We tied, but still won. Tied for first.
When did you think about putting the leaves in your mouth?
The leaves in the mouth were gonna be actually originally for the bush part, we were gonna do that for the creative presentation.
Oh my God, sorry. That was weird. Anyways.
And we forgot because there was just like so many like moving parts. And I was like, whatever, it's like such an afterthought. It doesn't it's not gonna affect the actual presentation. And then when I was thinking of like my friends who have done pageants in the past, when I thought of like Nikki's package for Drag Queen of the Year, when I thought of Melissa's package for Drag Queen of the Year, one of the things that I've heard is like during Q&A, like not only is it your job to like answer the question, but it's also another way for people to like get to know who you are as a performer and as an artist, and like always have some kind of gag. And so I was like, I need a gag. Like I didn't know what I was gonna do, and then because I forgot the leaves for the first part, I was like, I literally like there was a moment where you can see like on my video of my Q&A where I'm like running a little late and you can hear Elisa being like, girl or babe or whatever she said.
Our final contestant is God's Little Princess. Maybe.
And it's because I was like, give me the leaves. And we were just like stuffing them in my mouth and then like ran on stage. And I thought that would have been just like a cute little gag just to, get the girls going.
Did any of you wish you got a different question or like wanted to answer one of the other questions that one of your other contestants got?
I loved my question, so no.
Yeah, you slayed your question.
I was like,
down.
I don't want a different question.
Yeah.
But I actually had a couple friends, and they were over at my house when we were getting ready the night before and the day of. And we went through all the questions, and then we were running through it. And then, they were coaching me, and they were like, don't do this, do this. So we were going through it. So I was really proud of the way that my question came out. And I think that was the best question that I could have gotten to. But I had a different answer for if your life was a what was it? If your life was a porn. So I was going to say, Fresas con crema, some loads refused. So I was going to be like, some loads refused. And I was like, and if you don't know what that means, then you need to log on to Sniffies and find a cum dump. So that's what I was going to say.
That's a long title.
Well, no, that was the explanation to the title.
That's the explanation. Okay.
No, but it's Fresas con crema,
Yeah.
some loads refused.
Yeah.
That's the name of the movie.
Can we go around and say what question everyone got? Like can we go down the line? Like what question?
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I got the question that was, what's the funniest thing that's happened to you in drag?
I honestly cannot remember what question I had or what I said. I think I was struggling to stay awake. I apologize. Roll the tape. The community? What did I say?
What's the last community?
I don't remember.
Jesus, you guys are good. I have no idea.
Them as, like, people were answering. I was like, okay, cross that one.
Smart.
I think you said something.
Not smart.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry. That's why I didn't win that part.
I got describe your drag in 3 words. Yeah. I don't even. What did I say?
Cloud, flume, white. No. It was,
crazy cuckoo cunt. Oh.
artistic and autistic.
I did say that. Yeah.
I have a weird memory.
Yeah.
My question was, my question was, fuck one, marry one, kill one, which and
Yeah.
and I answered it.
That I do remember.
I got, what is the most rewarding thing that you learned about yourself while preparing for this competition? Yeah.
And you learned to ask for help.
I did. I learned how to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, the years that I've been doing drag, I would never ask anybody for any help. And, like, thinking back on it now, I'm like, what was I so afraid of? Because my drag could have really elevated a lot earlier had I just, like, opened up to people. So open up to your friends. And let them know, like, your vision. Because, I know it's, like, sitting in here, but, like, a way to get it out there is to like share that with everyone else.
At the end of the day, I think like every single contestant, even the ones that are not here, like we all kind of had to do that, because of the level of work that we all put into this. I feel like we all had to collaborate with someone. We all had to pass something along, like delegate. So I really liked your answer for that reason, because same, I was just like, sometimes you don't want to ask for help because you want to seem like you can do it all yourself. But then what I found as well is that a lot of people came to me and asked me if I needed help, so doing this, what I want out of doing this pageant was actually really finding out like how much of a community I have around me, and how many people, I don't know if like look up to me is the right word. I mean, they definitely look up to me, but like it's just kind of like how many people are there for my success, and how many people appreciate the work that I've put in to kind of elevate others as well. So when the turn came to kind of return the favor, they were already willing and able. So yeah, thanks to the Princess Pageant for doing that for us.
This year, there was a new category, and it was kind of like a gag. Fan vote. 15 points. That's big. Were you all shook about fan voting?
Oh yes.
Did you have any expectations of who might take it, or your strategies around it?
I knew it was because of how it was set up. It was a fan vote, like not necessarily based off of like what was done or the merits accomplished in the pageant. It was like who just has the most fans, or who can get their fans to vote the most, or whatever. So I was like, okay, like the social media. I just was like, the social media girls are gonna take it. And I kind of was like, it's either gonna be Yayah because she probably has like an entire city supporting her, or Bev because I think she had like the most followers. So that was kind of like where I was looking at it. Yeah.
Most of my fans are.
Yeah.
Wow.
They can still vote.
Can't vote when you're dead. Okay.
Yeah, you just log into their accounts and take their votes. They do that in the South. Okay. Were you gagged that you won fan vote, or you knew you were going to take that one, Yayah?
I had like a feeling I was gonna do well in the fan vote. I wasn't sure if I was gonna win because
How many
you got Delta work.
so yeah, when Delta Work like put me on her story, I was like, I think that's a wrap. But also a few years ago, probably like 6 or 7 years ago, Beverly and I went head-to-head online in a voting competition to open for Ali X. And it was me. So I'm getting there. Yeah, it was me, Beverly, Loma, and I think Sasha Devereaux. I think it was the four of us. And it was me and Beverly like neck and neck the whole time. And then right at the end, and this is shade, Loma won, which gagged me. And I like later on we've talked about it. I'm like, so how the fuck did you pull that off? Because you had like 6 votes and then you won. And she got her votes on Reddit. She went to like the Drag Race subreddit and like made the fandom vote for her. But it was between me and Beverly. And when this came around, I was like, it's gonna be between me and Beverly again. Because Beverly's fucking fierce and she's got a lot of followers, but I also have an entire city to myself, whereas all of y'all had to like fight for San Francisco. So, and my promo look was cunt. So
it was cunt. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna take a short break. Maybe we'll have a commercial for you, maybe not. I thought that this chair was gonna be like sickening and cunt, but I just keep turning, and I'm like, really? It looks like I have the runs or something. Or okay, well, we're gonna take a break, and I'm gonna try to fix this chair. All right, be back. Well, welcome back from our short commercial break. I'm still here with the cast of the High PrincX Pageant 2024 and Katrina Rude, one of the hosts of the High PrincX Pageant. So you have actually a very special view of the pageant, being on the wings the whole time. Y'all are backstage. What is your experience like watching this pageant over the course of these past 3 years and this one in particular?
It is honestly the most fun thing ever. I'm just crying. This is so. No, I had a cashew stuck in my throat. No, just kidding. I was crying. It was so fun. It's so fun to watch everybody just do their best, and that's like the coolest thing ever. I will say that my personal favorite component of the pageant each year is the creative presentation. It's just like the wow moment, and I also am standing on stage the whole time, so I get to actually see everything in its full.
Me, I just work here.
And I was really curious to see what everyone was going to do, especially with this theme this year. And y'all turned it out. It's really awesome.
You're also just like a great host, but also like a really good disciplinarian. Because toward the end of the pageant, you know, people get rowdy. And you're like, nah, not at my pageant. Are you good cop and bad cop with Lisa? Are you bad cop?
We're both bad cop.
You're both bad cop?
No, I mean, Lisa and I have a dynamic, of course. That's why we host together. But I am usually the abrasive one. I'm going to be the one to just nip shit in the bud. And actually, not related to this pageant, that has been my attitude at Princess. You know, of course, I want to be friendly and I want to put on, help put on a great show with a great team. But because we inherited a night of the week at that bar that had previously been filled by Heclina, I knew that the regular audiences would not necessarily know me or Lisa. And so from the get-go, we were not going to take shit because we needed people to understand, okay, like, trust me, this is going to be good, but you don't get to disrespect me just because you don't know who I am. So that was like my attitude from the beginning. And so I'm always just going to do what I have to do.
But now people know who you are. And you still yell at them.
And I still yell at them.
Effectively. I look up to you. I treat people at work like you treat audience members, and I've gotten only 3 complaints so far.
You better work. And it takes 4 to get fired, so you're on your last legs, honey.
Yeah, they're building that case. All right, so we're almost done. Oh my God, almost done with week 1. Week 1 culminated in lip sync battles. I would love to hear everybody's experience. We don't all have to talk. You could like talk about like the song that you ended up getting, or was there something you wanted? Something out of something else, but I really do want to hear about Yayah and Raya Light's lip sync, because from the audience perspective, it's just like every single lip sync was very, very close. But that one was like a Rorschach to me, because depending on where you were standing in the audience, like one people was like, oh, this was Yayah's, and like, to my left was like, no, this was obviously Raya's. It was just like 2 such different approaches to the very same song. I want to hear how it was like kind of playing that game of chess on stage with everybody.
Well, yeah, I was still worried about not falling, and I didn't want to fall into whoever I was lip syncing against and ruin their night. So maybe I screwed up and being a little too small in what I was doing, but I was doing me, which was, what I enjoyed. And so some people enjoyed it and some people did not. But I mean, I saw the tape. She won.
I don't know. It was definitely one of those lip syncs where, as it was happening, I was like, "Girl, what the fuck?" Because she did everything, and I saw her getting ready backstage, and I based off of like process of elimination, I was like, okay, so I think it's gonna be me and Raya, and I saw her with the fucking silly string, and I saw her with the balloons. What else you got? You got fucking confetti cannon. She threw a grenade, I think. And I saw her getting ready, and I was like, girl, I got a jacket, and I know the words. But I've done that song for so long, and I'm like Bjork's #1 fan, and I was like, I knew what she was doing as it was happening, because I was like, well, they're gagging, and they're staring at her, and they're obsessed. And I was like, but I know this song like the back of my fucking hand. So I was like, don't get shook, don't let it get to you. And I just performed the song like I've always done that song, and it worked out. So, yeah.
I love watching these lip sync battles because everyone's so different. And I keep mentioning that. It's just like, there's more than one way to win a lip sync. You know, it doesn't always have to be pyrotechnics, although that could happen. You could also just know the song like the back of your hand and live and breathe every single word. Or you could just like command the center of the stage and just like outmaneuver the other performer. And I think all of you just like really slayed the lip syncs. After week 1, I don't think for anybody there's a clear top or clear winner. It was still anybody's game. Look, everyone did really, really well. I mean, I wish we could talk more about some of the performances from the contestants that weren't here, because like the lip sync battles were like fierce. But we knew that the winner was going to come down to the talent presentation. Did it feel that way to you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I got in my car after the first night, and I was like, girl, I don't know. That was crazy. Plus, it goes so fast. You're like backstage watching it happen on the monitor, and you're like, well, months of work, and it just happens in like 10 seconds, and it's kind of gaggy. So as it's happening, you don't really know where you stand in the mix, because you're like, I did the best I could. This is what I've worked on. It went as well as it possibly could, but obviously these are 8 really fucking fierce, talented artists, and they also did the best they possibly could. So it's just one of those things where it's like, it kind of comes down to the taste of the judges. Yeah, I don't know. The first night was definitely really hard to call.
I think at the end of the day, it also comes down to the taste of the judges. You know, like this is a judged competition by a specific group of people. So if those people like you or like what you did, then you were going to get a good scoring. And by the end of week 1, I mean, I left thinking that I was ready to win. Not going to lie. Like I came in there ready to win, and I came in there wanting to win, you know, putting my effort all in it. And when I left, I was like, okay, that was like a really good like first part of it. There was like a really good lip sync. I had a great answering question. So I was like, there's no way that I'm not, you know, like in the top 4, like if you want to just call it that. So I was very confident, but again, it's one of those things where it's like you go home and you're like, okay, now I can't like do any missteps. Like I have to go home and have to make sure that everything is practiced, everything is stoned, everything is done the way that I planned it, because if not, then like I'm gonna lose, because you know I messed up on stage. And choreography was like a big thing for me, so that's why.
Now I want to hear your process in preparing your talent. Everyone did something that was so different. God, someone kill me. I keep saying that. But it's true. Like nobody did the same talent, you know, like everyone brought themselves. One of the things I like watching the postmortems that y'all post in your stories or in your reels about like, you know, different parts of the pageant. Something that struck me is God's Lil Princess. You mentioned, you know, putting something out there that was truly you. I want to get it right, but like it wasn't, and you kind of spoke to this too, Sassi, just like not necessarily catering to what you expected people would like or want. And I think everybody also did that in their ways. Like not only did you do something that maybe a judge might like, maybe the GP general public might like, but something that also like spoke to you, your authenticity or your persona as a drag performer. So I want to hear your preparation, kind of creating a number around knowing yourself so well.
Yeah, so I actually the pageant for me was actually I had sort of been in this I was having a weird relationship with drag, and I found myself sort of doing this type of drag that I thought was expected of me, and quite frankly, it was like making me miserable. I was like, this is not fun. Like I'm feeling like I'm supposed to present a certain way, do a certain kind of drag, And so when I was like, I'm gonna do this pageant, I had this huge idea, building off a character that I've already done in the past. And I was like, it's this concept is a little too big for just like any princess night. I kind of want this to be for a pageant. And that's when I decided I wanted to do the pageant. And it was just, I just wanted to present something that is something that I like truly enjoyed, like the entire process, and a character that I really like doing. So that was sort of the process. And I also wanted to bring a little bit of like silliness and weirdness and irreverence to this stage, because I feel like that's what made me fall in love with San Francisco drag to begin with, was like the city of weirdos. And so I wanted to bring that, something a little weird, something a little macabre, something a little rough around the edges. And I think I did that beautifully. I loved your number so Thank you.
So I feel like the birth of my number really almost sort of came first from Philippinx forming. Philippinx is the Filipina drag supergroup that me and Phoebe are part of, along with Yves Saint Croissant, Tila Pia, Neapolitan, Natasha. Oh my God, I didn't forget anyone, did I?
Oh, no, that's everybody.
I got everyone. All right, it's 6 of us.
Even the one that was easy to forget, you remembered, so that's good.
But when that group formed, I mean, Eve came to me about forming that group, and I think the reason why I kind of pushed her to be like, you know what, I'm ready to do this, like, let's do this, and it's because I really wanted to like find a connection to my culture, because I didn't really feel like I felt like I kind of lost that. And like even growing up too, like my parents didn't teach me or my siblings Tagalog, and so, and like, there's just like so much like the whitewashing, or just like the wanting of the American dream, like growing up as like a Filipino American, so not really getting to connect to our culture as much as we would like, or as much as I would like. And the way that this number in particular came about was that Us by Ruby Ibarra, it's a song that I've done it before, but then the remix of it came out, which is what I used, the Lassie remix. I think it came out in the fall, and as soon as I heard that, and it was so intense and so cinematic and just like felt like a movie, and that was where I was like, I need to do something with this. And so once the application form came out for PrincX Pageant, I was like, this is my time to do this number. And I also felt like a number that I wanted to do a long time was for Mary Magdalene's, or not Mary Magdalene, FKA Twigs' Mary Magdalene, that song. And I never really knew exactly what I wanted to do with that song, but kind of everything sort of came together when I realized like I'm doing this number to empower not just the Pinays in my life, but also I wanted to do a number very close to home where it was like about my grandma and about my mom, and like my grandma's life was always a mystery to me. So it was like I'd like to use this number almost as if like a life project to like find out about my grandma and talk to my mom and ask her like, how did she raise you on her own? Like I want to, make this number about resilience and, Filipina femininity and just like power. And like, so I like got on like a 2-hour FaceTime with my mom and just talked to her about like my grandma, and like learned about what her experience was like growing up with her. And at the end of it, after she kind of rehashed, her memories about her mom, I asked her, what could you say you learned about grandma's life when it comes to resilience? And that was when she said, maging totoo ka sa sarili mo, which means stay true to yourself. So yeah, because my grandma didn't take any shit. She didn't let anybody tell her how she should live her life. She was very hard-headed, but it also made her a very like resilient woman. And so it was like, this was a number for me to it was kind of for her, because I felt like I was so disconnected from her my whole life. And it wasn't until after she passed away where I was like, I was so robbed of learning about her and learning about my family history and my culture. And so, yeah, this number I hold like so close and special to me. And it was also clear to me that it was really important to my backup dancers too. We all like the day of the, the final day of the pageant after the tech rehearsal, we all ate lunch together and just sobbed and just talked about like why this number was so important to each of us. And I don't know, just a huge full circle moment. So I'm so happy just like how everything ended up, and like being able to take home the crown with that number like means so much to me. So yeah. I was trying not to cry that whole time.
No, yeah, it's deeply affecting. Like that's really beautiful, and you all put yourselves into your numbers, and just hearing the foundation of how you ideated around kind of putting it together. I know the audience just knew it as a sickening dance number, but for you to kind of like put your art into kind of like that live project was beautiful to listen to.
For me, before I found drag, I was always like a musician. I practically grew up on like a tour bus with my mom because she was like a touring recording drummer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is your mom Sheila E?
No. No. So in like the late 90s, early 2000s, she toured with a band called Moondog Maine, which opened for Def Leppard, she was Moondog Maine, Def Leppard, Kid Rock, and some other like 90s, 2000s, classic rock kind of gigs. So music's always been a part of me as a person, as an artist, and that's kind of like what originally shaped me as an artist. So I knew for this pageant, I was like, I should probably go the music route, and not to like be shady, but most of the time when like drag artists do music, it's like cringe and terrible. And so my music is generally like, it's a little more dark. It's a little more, I don't really connect my music to my drag very often. But I had like written this song, Art, like a year ago. And I was just like, this is terrible. I'm like, this song is just like bad drag camp nightmare music. So I just kind of shelved it. And then when I got cast in the pageant, I was like, I have that song. And Yayah the artist was kind of just my Instagram handle to start, but then everyone started calling me the artist. And I was like, okay, I've got this song called Art. Everyone thinks I'm an artist. And so I was just like, let me just like finish that song, throw that together. And then the other thing I really wanted to highlight during my talent was like my costume design skills. So I made everything. And then I knew I didn't want like dancers or like a big choreographed production, and I really just wanted to showcase like my drag family. So my two drag kids were on stage with me, and then my other drag kid, baby Angel, kind of helped us choreograph and put stuff together. So for me, it was just a culmination of like what makes me an artist fundamentally, and being able to showcase that and my family at the same time, because I feel like I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for them, because sometimes life's fucking hard and they make it great. So yeah, it was just like a cool number that was kind of just a culmination of a lot of ideas for me. So felt very full circle.
Well, for me, I did this like Aztec number. It just had this like roots all in like Aztec culture, but really the way that my presentation was created was I wanted to kind of have like a narrative that went along with everything I did in the pageant, so the package was all kind of put together. So the first one was a fire, right? It was a phoenix. So with that, I wanted to kind of showcase like the Aztec goddess of fire, or it's god of fire, but goddess in my case. But basically the god of fire, it's like the god of time, the god of the calendar. So it's really like the all-knowing, ever doing god. So that was something that I was like, okay, like let's tell the story of the Aztec people, my people. I was born in the border, lived in Mexico till I was 15, and I visited, like Cholula, Puebla, or like Mexico City several times, and I've been to all of these archaeological sites where I always feel this like deep connection and like super, like it's just like crazy to think, you know what I mean? Like all the things that they used to they built and the fact that they've lasted this long. And Cholula, Puebla, where my aunt lives, has the biggest pyramid ever built, which actually has like a church on top of it, because the conquistadors built a church on top of it after they covered it up with sand or like dirt, so that they wouldn't know it was there. So it's not even uncovered. Like, it's just like you can walk underneath it and inside of it. But it's always kind of like had this like big impact on my life and on my being. And I knew that I wanted to do something like that. We were asked before applying, like, what would be your like dream number? And that's what I wrote down. So then I was like, I already said I was going to do this, so I kind of have to do this. But then I have a friend who is part of the Aztec community here in San Francisco, and they're like dancers. They're dancers. So they do all these kind of like community events and dancing events. So I had to ask them for some guidance. So it was really nice to kind of like do a similar thing, which is like, ask for guidance, ask them what's the right way of approaching this. They really said, I would love for you to ask for permission from the 5 corners. So that's what the initial part of my number was, kind of like an honor and like asking for permission and showing that this was like a tribute to our ancestors, while also recognizing that the land that we're stand on is Ohlone land. It's like doing an indigenous number is always kind of like tricky because people might not understand it. But I wanted to showcase the way that my culture has shifted or created who I am today. So it started with my culture, my prehistoric culture, moving into where I was born, which is the northern part of Mexico. So that music, those dancing, like that was all very like norteño, and what I grew up in, like dancing at quinceañeras and stuff like that. Like we would always dance like that. And then the final part was like who Betty Fresas has become in San Francisco. So, like kind of doing this like ballroom inspired like star big choreographic number. It was just like this like trajectory of who I am and where I've gone, and what I have become based on the collaborations and the people that I've met along the way. And that's really what this number was. I had my friend JJ the Killer, like he choreographed the whole thing, and then my friend Austin Steele, like he made the code, and my friend made the mask. So it was like all the collaboration, but really being able to kind of use my talents and like, sew the outfits for myself and the go-go's and create all these extra pieces to it to really make it seem cohesive, including the visuals. I made the visuals. That was just kind of like the way to finish telling that story. So that way, even if people didn't know what the words were being said or, who we're representing, they kind of still understood that this is an experience. And the song that I used for the last number is actually my intro song for Medianoche, which is the night I host. So that was kind of like even like another like little reference of like, this is like what I do every Thursday night to a new level.
Oh, Cochina, can you slap me? I'm falling asleep. Ah! Yes. So what did I do for my talent? Yes, I've always had always wanted to do the concept of a living dress. It's very inspired by Juanita Moore and Glamour Moore, some of the crazy stuff that I've seen them do over the years. Although it's very hard, very hard to do to create all that costuming in such a short period of time. But luckily, Ruby Vixen, who I've known forever, stepped up and worked through it, which was amazing. And so this was the first week I did a tribute to the people that inspired me, and this was supposed to be a tribute to the places that inspired me. Didn't really work out that way because I didn't realize that we would be covering the whole video, but that's how it goes. And then I always wanted to do Raya Light as Raya Light. And then the last image was of a princess on my chest because, I am so far removed from drag these days. I live on top of a mountain 2 hours away. And so one of the reasons I did it was to see all these new creatures. And the people at, the guys at Princess have been so kind to invite me every once in a while. So, I love drag, and I could watch it for days. I watch it every week after you guys put it up online, and I think, yeah, I'll shut up now.
I did not compete.
This is all very truly moving. Just hearing all of your accounts of like ideating around these numbers, preparing for them, the amount of authenticity that you brought not only to yourself, but like what your collaborators and what you're giving tribute to it was amazing, and it was also just like really entertaining. Like everybody did a great job. I mean, Sassi won, but everybody did a great job. All right, so there was a Miss Congeniality this year. It was Raya Light. Raya, were you surprised you won Miss Congeniality?
Very much, because
You can't be
I'm
mean when
not
you're asleep, I guess.
I'm not very friendly. Most people think I'm an absolute bitch because I usually just sit there and all I'm thinking about truly is all the shit that's going to go wrong in whatever I'm doing. Drag does not get easier as you get older. It gets a lot harder. But I mean, I appreciate it. I wish I was nicer. But.
Well, we think you're plenty nice, or I don't know. Was it process of elimination?
Well, just well, just how Yayah, make sure that all her fans knew to vote for her. Raya made sure that we all knew to vote for her
Oh, she
because
campaigned.
she constantly dropped the Miss Congeniality title. She constantly was like, "Oh, I guess I'm not gonna win Miss Congeniality anymore." and then like Otter was coming around and asking us who was gonna win, and like Sassi and I were next to each other, and Sassi's like, "Who are you gonna vote for?" And I was like, "Raya's the one that wants it. Like, I'm gonna vote for her. I'm sorry." And I feel like I don't know. Was it a unanimous vote?
Yeah.
Who did you vote for? I voted for Yayah. Sorry.
That's crazy.
I think Raya's very nice, but I was just like, I thought we were actually like a general, like a pretty nice cast. Too nice. Too nice. I
No
know.
Amoras.
There were no Amoras. No, but I will speak on that a little later. But no, I thought we were like a pretty nice cast. We all got along really well. There was no like shady diva or like someone who was being crazy backstage. So when Otter was going around asking for who we wanted to vote for Miss Congeniality, it was sort of just like I was like getting in my like crowning look. So I was like I don't. And then like Yayah was right in front of me, and I was like, Yayah.
I just want to say, when Raya was on her Miss Congeniality campaign, whenever she like comments on a picture, she does this thing, and it's like my new favorite thing, where she'll like say what she has to say, and then she's like, "Mwah." And so now everywhere I go, I'm just like, "Mwah." I think that's just so lovely.
Because I watch everything with subtitles, and that's what it is. But I would just say that her music is real. Your music is amazing, and I don't know what you're doing here. You should do that full time.
Do you agree you were campaigning? Yes or no?
That's such a lie. I was campaigning to lose.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, I don't want to win Miss Congeniality. That means you don't get to win the crown.
Well, lucky for you, we have more categories than Miss Congeniality. We all voted, or not me, but you all voted, for who is the funniest. And the funniest goes to God's Little Princess.
Boo.
Do you agree with that, God's Little Princess? Obviously.
Yes, I think I'm hilarious.
Yeah, you're hilarious.
I think I'm
That's right,
fucking funny.
exactly.
I'm hilarious. Yeah.
Did anybody vote for anybody else? No, unanimous. Wow. Okay. We did also vote on the meanest of the cast, and it said Betty. Are you the meanest? Are you the villain?
I mean, I am the drama. No, I don't think I was mean to anybody per se, but I do get this like little like nice nasty comment in the past, so I think I can be kind of cunty. You think I just have a resting bitch face?
Yeah.
It's like for me, kind of like what you're saying. It's like when I get to a gig, whatever it is, like. First of all, I'm late, so I'm like running late, right? So when I get there, I'm like, nobody talk to me. I'm not gonna talk to anybody. Like I'm gonna dress, and once I'm finally all ready in the gig, like then we can start kind of like volleying. But by that point, like everybody's already like kikiri ka, and I'm like, it's hard to like jump in. So it really comes at the end. Like once everything's done, then I'll be like, oh, you really think you did that? So it's kind of like even right now, like it was cute and nice, and then suddenly it just starts coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm mean sometimes, and that's fine. I'll take that title.
My favorite part is every year so far of PrincX, there has been one girl whose fans are fucking psycho. And first year it was Frida Mont. Last year it was Amora. This year it was fucking Betty's fans. They were loud. Those Latin twinks, girl, they're fucking crazy. But anyway, so every
Katrina's there every time.
season of PrincX, they need to cast based off of just if she has a loyal fan fans of what is it, Latin Twinks. Yeah, they need to have loyal, Latin Twink fans.
Latin twink vote.
I literally still get people that come up to me and they're like, I was very upset. And I'm like, girl, it's fine. Let it go. Like, it's fine. Yeah, literally. Yeah, and that's one thing that, you know, a lot of people did say. They're like, we were just excited. You know, we were trying to, you know, showcase who we loved. And there was a moment literally when we were up on stage and it was like, it was us too. And like, they're screaming my name. And I was the one that was like, and I went like that, you know, just because for me, like, again, I don't consider myself a mean person and I love to give space to everyone. So for me, I was just like, I get it. You guys like it and you guys want me to win. But like at this point, it's decided. So, you know, let's just like chill. But I don't know. How did you feel? Why were you yelling at them? Because I heard the judges were also yelling at them. I don't know. That was also what was said to me.
I try to be as diplomatic as I can. That doesn't mean I'm not a bitch about it, but you can be a bitch and be diplomatic. That's my belief. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this, but doing that has no effect on the judging at all.
Yeah.
But everyone, please give it up for Betty Fresas. I just want to make sure you knew that's literally useless what you're doing. Thank you. I also like truly, you know, I know that people are excited. Yeah. Like, I know that it's not out of ill intention. Like, I am aware of that. I'm just kidding. It's not useless. It's very nice to hear that their friends are supportive. But I also know that there's only one way that people will listen. And that's if I talk like this. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't have mattered
in the cast, Katrina Ruth.
Yeah, we were going to vote for her.
Andrew said you got to vote for me.
I also wrote ... JK, just so you know.
Oh, it was you. Okay, I'll see you on Thursday at the gig, Sassy. No, yeah, but well, I try to think of it from, I was trying to, and again, nothing to do with you or anybody, you know, I was trying to imagine it from Sassy's perspective, where it's like, imagine standing up there and there's two of you, but only your opponent is who is being cheered on. And again, like, I know it was not out of ill intention, but I didn't think that would be very encouraging, you know, for the other contestant. And so that's why when that happened, and also because we've had this happen every year, is you know, that's the reason why I said we want everyone to have their moment. So we would really appreciate it if everyone would just shut the fuck up just about this part. But I actually, off of that, Betty, I have a question for you. Do you, so, you know, you were talking a little bit about, like, you know, your backstage decorum. Okay. Would you say that there was a level of strategy in that? Were you trying to intimidate your fellow competitors?
Which date? The promo? Every date that we were together. What do you mean, though? Like, what do you mean? I was like, well, here's the thing.
I thought you were playing the game.
What game? There was a game?
Maybe I'm just intimidated by you.
Well, I would say this. You know, things were said to me before the pageant by other people that have been in pageants, and they were like, you know, you want to show up looking your very best, and you want to make sure that when people look at you, they're like, fuck, that's what's going on stage. Like, they need to be intimidated, right? Another way to intimidate people is by the group of people that are helping you. Like, if you have a ton of people helping you, and on the second night, Sassy had a ton of people helping her, and I was right next to her, and I was like, is there enough space for the rest of us? Like, what's going on? So that's another way of intimidating. But I do think that, at least in the first couple times, like, I was just being very much to myself, and I kind of, like, went towards the people that I knew. So, you know, we were hanging out and we were kikiing and stuff like that. But there was really, like, I never even said anything that I felt was mean. And then on the second day when we came, like, to the second show, we were sitting together and Sassy was next to me too. And Sassy was really focused on everything that was happening. So it was really Yayah and I. And, like, we had a really good conversation and we were just chit-chatting. But then that good conversation turned into, like, oh, but you're going to lose. She did say that. And then it was like, oh, well, like, I was like, I'll book you. And you were like, well, good, because you're not going to get any money. So we did start having this kind of little, like, back and forth, like, being like, and even all the way to the end. You don't remember? Yeah. All the way to the end, it was like, we were about to get crowned. And, like, you were like, oh, well, I hope you like losing. And I was like, baby, look at me. You're going to lose. So we were having that. I know we did. So.
Have you booked Yayah
Wow,
yet?
wow, wow, wow. I want to book Yayah, and I'm going to book Yayah. And my goal is to book everyone at Medianoche. So I'm going to book everybody from the cast just because I kind of want to bring out everyone as well. So even if I'm the meanest, I'm also the nicest at the same time.
Another little Betty moment. This is when I was like, oh my god, she's really coming for me. Was we were getting when we found out that we were gonna lip sync, she turns to me and she goes, "This is really unfair for you." And I was like,
No, that is not. No, I did not say that. Because you were like, I feel like you're gonna beat me, and I was like, well, if I don't beat you, then who the fuck am I? Oh, that's what I said. I would feel bad if I didn't win, is what I said.
I thought you said this was unfair.
Damn, I didn't know this was. I didn't know this was gonna turn into an intervention. Oh my goodness. But period.
You also voted on who the horniest of the cast was, and that unsurprisingly, also went to God's Lil Princess.
Oh.
I'm horny.
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you guys.
yeah,
And horny and horsey.
yeah. That bunny fucked you.
That bunny fucked me. Yeah.
Yeah, those
that
bears
was
were,
that
the
was
bears
hands.
and birds were gooning.
So I mean, I wanted to create like a fucked up cartoon. I've been like obsessed with like Ren and Stimpy and SpongeBob and Flapjack, and all those cartoons have like a very adult like undertone to them, and sometimes they even border in like a little like just like a little inappropriate, and so I wanted to kind of bring that. And like there was also like an episode of South Park where there's like the happy whatever friends or something, and they like have like a blood orgy. And I was like, oh, I want to do a little bit of that. And so that was just like I wanted to do a like I love like dandy, those like sort of asexual, hyper effeminate like boy characters that you see. Like Pee Wee Herman, SpongeBob SquarePants, Howdy Doody, like these and I wanted to do that but make it like really dark and fucked up and horny, which is like really I'm horny right now. Yeah, I'm horny. Yeah. I'm hosting later.
Can you get Sniffies to sponsor In My Chroma Opinion?
Oh my god, they don't respond to my emails. I think I've given out their email to too many people. People are like, "Do you want to? Can Sniffies sponsor my party?" I'm like, "Yeah, here, just hit them up." And so I think they were like, "Yeah, we're not. If I'm a reference, I think it's a lost cause. But try. Just don't drop my name."
All right, got a few more questions for the cast. What was your favorite part of the competition?
My favorite part was, doing really well in Q&A and creative presentation. I was really excited about my performance, but I found that sometimes I struggle a little bit with the aesthetic part of drag, or my personal aesthetic, and so I was like, I really wanted to show people like I can like present like a really clean, polished like package. But it still stay true to like who my character is. So yeah, and getting to all these fabulous people.
I would say my favorite part was losing in front of a crowd full of people screaming my name. No, but honestly, that is like knowing how many people were there, like part of the community. I kind of said this earlier. You know what I mean? Like there was times that people came up to me and asked me if I needed help when I was like, I wasn't even, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, yes, of course I need help. So that, like, really being able to build that community and kind of like feeling that like gift back that I've been giving to everyone. So that was like the biggest thing. And honestly, it was kind of hard and difficult when after, Sassi won, to like walk through the crowd and like have to say hi and kiss everybody. And like everybody was like, oh my God, like I wanted you to win. And like that was like so... It like broke my heart, just because like I feel like to enter any of these pageants, or even if you want to apply to a show on TV, like you kind of have to be delusional and you have to feel like you're the best and you're gonna win and everything that you're doing is the only thing out there. So I was in this like delusional mindset. Plus everyone around me was like, "Bitch, you're gonna win. Bitch, you're gonna win," and that ended that moment on stage. So to have to feel that in front of everybody and still have to be like, yes, like that was like really tough. And then to have to continue to push that face throughout like the rest of the night and like say hi to everybody, that was pretty hard. But 2 days later, once I talked to my therapist and everything, I was able to just kind of reassess and be like, at the end of the day, I think that Sassi did an amazing job, and it wasn't about if Sassi did better than me or not. You know what I mean? It was just about that's how the cards were dealt. And at the end of the day, like I got a lot of it, which was my community, that support, and honestly, like some pretty sickening looks that I'm gonna use all over the place. So yeah.
I enjoyed watching all of them perform. I thought everything they did was amazing, and it was just exciting for me to see where drag is at these days. And I enjoyed the process and the challenge of this whole experience and working with all people I had known for 20 years and people I just have never met before. A lot of the people that were in my number, I did not know I had to rely on people since most of my fans are dead. Most of my friends are too. So yeah, and I enjoyed the Burger King afterwards.
Yes. Burger King.
For me, I think it was like right at the beginning and right at the end were my favorite parts. I think meeting everybody and like culminating in the room on the promo day and feeling like really honored to be like engulfed in a community that's really respectful and highbrow and passionate and intelligent, and be amongst people that I feel like really resonate at my vibration was really an honor. And then at the end, like being able to look at Instagram stories or look at the stream and like see it all back, and it's just like months and months of work. And I think for me personally, like as an artist, and probably everybody, I think every artist is really self-critical, but I have moments where I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm like, I don't really know who I am or what I stand for sometimes. And, sometimes my drag's really feminine and sometimes it's really masculine and sometimes it's, edgy and sometimes it's not. And I feel like with this pageant, I was able to look back and be like, there it is. Yeah. Like from top to bottom, I feel like I now understand myself on a level that I did not have the clarity on before. So it was just like a very like enriching experience to be amongst people that, I'm really happy to be around, and to like look back at myself and be really proud of, my journey and feel like, okay, now I get what I'm about and what I'm doing. So just, yeah.
Yeah, I think I want to echo a lot of the things that you guys are saying too about like one community, like it, getting ready for like creative presentation and for talent, which were like, my favorite things too, also probably because I won them. But, getting ready for everything and like being able to ask for that help. And like I had a moment of realization when I had all my friends over and we're making, hundreds of tulle flowers, and they're like, just meticulously working away, and their hands are getting numb. And I'm just like, I can't believe that I have like all of you here who like want to support me this much or love me this much that you would be here for me. And so it became like a moment where I realized like, I think this is why I'm doing drag, is because it brings together people and it brings together, this community aspect to it. And then what Yayah said too, of just like, I think that the whole pageant, kind of allowed me to make this really like fully realized package of myself. I think I also kind of lose a sense of like, why am I doing this, or who am I? Like, who is Sassi Fran? And I think through this pageant, I was like, no, I think I know exactly who I am. And so, yeah. And winning. That was a great part too. Oh yeah.
Anybody else? Katrina, what was your favorite part?
When it was over.
Same.
I mean, in all seriousness, I really love doing this pageant, getting the privilege to do this pageant with this team every year, because I get the opportunity to learn about people who, I know from proximity perhaps, but on a deeper level. I mean, even just like from the sidelines, like Sassi, like, we had not worked together that much before, but it was so cool to see everything that you brought and how hard you turned it. Like, and, Betty, we know each other as well, but, we hadn't worked together that much either. And it was so amazing to see what you both did. And go figure, you guys both were the top two of this whole pageant. And that, getting to see people do their best where I wouldn't necessarily have expected it or known what to expect was really rewarding. And I know that a lot of people would probably like to be in my position. You know, I have a pretty sweet gig, and so I don't want to take that for granted. Like, I truly do really love seeing what everyone can bring, and it's a privilege to be able to even be at the sidelines and announce your names, you know. And who knows, maybe someday I'll compete.
Oh. Who's gonna host?
I was gonna say compete and host.
Who's gonna host? Oh, okay.
I just said that for drama.
Yeah. Last question, and then we're gonna say night-night to our viewers. Okay. Who do you want to see compete next year?
Well, two of the people that were actually in my number, Vicky Cristina Barcelona is like one of my really good friends, and she helped make my mask. I would say her. She's here in San Francisco. And then, you know, I know that Alpha Andromeda was in it last year. So another San Jose queen that is like just on my radar is Silvana Daniels. She's like, honestly, like I've never had a favorite drag queen, but I think she would be my favorite drag queen because she's so like unapologetically Mexican that I feel like I get her and she gets me and no one else does. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
I'd have to say my drag daughter, Claire Doe. She just hit her 5 or 6 year mark in drag, I think. And I feel like she's underestimated a lot, but she's got one of the like craziest brains I've ever seen on a person. So I think she would bring some really crazy shit. I'd also say like Obsidian Absurd or Bonita Rose. I think they'd fucking chew.
Okay, I have 4 people. Okay, I'll go fast. I want to see Mojo Carter. I want to see Diana. Are the Fresno girls allowed? I want to see Sasha Devereaux. Is she Fresno? Yeah. Modesto. Whatever. And Cara Coronado.
Are they allowed? We don't know. Are they allowed? Oh, they're allowed. They're allowed.
Also, Obsidian Absurd, for real. Bonita Rose. I don't know if it's been enough years for them, but
Obsidian's a pandemic baby.
yeah.
So
How many years ago was that?
it's 4.
Okay.
4. So almost.
I told Nia Politan that I think that she should compete, and I talked to her about it the other day, and she was like, "I'm not a competitive person, but we could push
Lies.
her. Well, we'll push her."
The only person that I know by name, Hands. I don't know how long she's been. Just every time I've seen her perform, amazing. Well,
But still an amazing.
yes.
I will choose to remain impartial. There are people who I would like to see apply, but I'll just leave it at that.
Wow.
She said everyone should apply.
Well, I want to see everybody in the Bay Area that does drag, that's been doing it for at least 5 years to compete. If we all live that long, then we might be able to see it. But actually, there are new babies coming out every single year. It's too much. But well, push it up to 10. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I would love to see the Ghost of Heclina compete next year. Hologram. I don't know. The Princess technology is pretty good. Well, thank you so much. That's it. That is the end of the reunion. Thank you so much. Thank you, Oasis Arts. Thank you, Princess. Thank you. We have some camera people that I want to thank on camera. We have Ori doing our wide shot, and then Hunter Ridenour, which is Angel's brother, Angel's cute brother. Stay away. And we really want to thank our patrons. Oh, hey. Thank you so much for doing this. Yay. Subscribe. Oh, yeah, that's right. Subscribe. In my crumble opinion. Okay, good. Okay.